Mr.
You don't
Secretary,
care about
I
Natalie.
reclaim my time.
I've offered to help Natalie.
I am asking you a question,
And NIH had been trying to get her into another clinical trial. None of our clinical trials were shut down because of the RIF. That was a canard.
and just to make it clear, this is just one case of many, but those are the facts.
That was RFK Jr. Robert Kennedy exposed as a massive liar in the hearing on fiscal year 2026 Department of Health and Human Service budget in the US Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labour and Pensions on the 14th of May 2025, where Senator for Washington Patty Murray asked about the plight of one of her constituents.
One of my constituents, her name's Natalie Phelps. She's a mom of two from Bainbridge Island in Washington State. She has been fighting aggressive stage 4 colorectal cancer for nearly 5 years now. Her best hope now is a clinical trial she's participating in at the NIH Clinical Center. She flew out to NIH a few weeks ago for her first appointment, and her care team there wanted her to come back in 4 weeks to start treatment. But because of the thoughtless mass firing of thousands of critical employees across NIH and HHS that you carried out, Natalie's doctors at that clinical center have told her they have no choice but to delay her treatment by an additional 4 weeks. Now, an extra 4 weeks may not sound like a long time, but I will tell you, for stage 4 cancer patients like Natalie, this could mean the difference between life and death. Secretary Kennedy, how many staff have been cut from the NIH's clinical center? I want a specific number.
I can't tell you that now, Senator Murray. What I can tell you is that if you contact my office tomorrow, I'll look specifically into that.
Well, that is not acceptable. I want an answer back by that. She deserves it. I do it. She doesn't have much time. She deserves an answer back.
Wouldn't you rather get her into that clinical trial as fast as you can?
Absolutely.
All right, so if you contact my office tomorrow, this is if that happened.
You are here to defend your budget. I'm here to ask you questions about the impact of that.
Well, you asked me about a specific case that I want to help with. I don't think anybody,
but there are.
I don't think that should happen to anybody.
Okay, well, what have you, and I mean you personally, done to assess how those staff cuts are impacting patient care? She is one of many. What have you done to assess that?
I provided the guidelines that said that no clinical trials should be affected by the cuts. I have,
Mr. Secretary, I just have a short amount of time. They are impacting clinical trials.
You asked me a question. Do you want me to answer it?
I want to tell you, you need to know this. You're here to defend the NIH budget, which
Senator, do you want me to answer your question?
Well, I want
me to answer your question, Senator.
Tell you that Natalie is sitting there waiting for treatment.
I'm offering to help her, but you don't care.
Mr.
You
Secretary,
don't care about Natalie.
I reclaim my time.
I've offered to help Natalie.
I am asking you a question, and it is critical. You are here to defend cutting NIH by half. Do you genuinely believe that that won't result in more stories like Natalie's?
I think the cuts that are now proposed by NIH are going to hurt. I think that President Trump, listen, there's no agency head in the government like myself that wants to see their budget cut. And
I asked you, have you personally assessed what this is doing to patients? And I am telling you one story of one person, it is impacting life or death situation. I think it's.
You want me to answer your question, Senator?
Well, you did.
Oh, I have not. You have not allowed me to answer it.
Well, I will just say that it is my job to be a voice for people like Natalie and countless other patients who are like her. So you've got to fix this. I want to know, and I want a personal update on Natalie's case, and you offered that. Please give that to me in the next 24 hours, and I expect details and transparency about the state of NIH clinical care.
You contact my office, Senator, and I will do everything in my power to try to get Natalie into that.
I got 1 minute left tonight.
Well, Senator Murray moved on to other cuts, but anyway, the one thing I picked up on this was that Republican loving, you know, the amount of Republicans who treated this clown like he had something intelligent to say, and we all must hang on to his every word. But I have to say, I did soldier on. And eventually later on, they went on for a 5-minute break. Well, when they came back, Conspiracy Crank had this to say.
I want to clarify an issue that we talked about before. Senator Murray had raised the issue of a constituent of hers who she said had been denied a place in a clinical trial in Washington due to the RIF. We've been able to run down that case. The patient was medically ineligible for that trial.
Medically ineligible?
Medically ineligible. It had nothing to do with the RIF. And NIH had been trying to get her into another clinical trial, but none of our clinical trials were shut down because of the RIF. That was a canard.
Thank you for the clarification.
Well, I thought, how interesting. But for me, the way he looked around as if to say, oh, no sign of Senator Murray. Phew, I think I might have got away with that one. And he just looked a little shifty for me. Well, I carried on suffering with the Republicans practically demanding that they could carry his babies, and those were just from the men, I must admit. Up popped Senator Patty Murray with this statement.
Thank you for accommodating and letting me speak here, because Secretary Kennedy came back and said that my constituent that I spoke about earlier was not delayed by staffing cuts. First off, she is already enrolled in that clinical trial. It's not a question of eligibility. The issue, as I stated clearly, was the delay in care that she got, and what you stated, Secretary Kennedy, is not true. I spoke with Natalie actually last night. She asked her NIH doctor directly why, and when she was informed of the delay, and her doctor at NIH said very plainly twice, her care was delayed because of staffing cuts. And I would just, Mr. Chairman, I think it's important for the record to show my staff has put in inquiries with HHS leadership, and they've been unresponsive so far. And just to make it clear, this is just one case of many, but those are the facts.
How very interesting. Now I'm wondering if he knowingly lied, or he was given this information as gospel, and he actually believed this information he was given was to be true. Who knows? But I did find his body language very shifty, I must admit. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm no body language expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I just got the feeling that he looked rather shifty to me. But all I would say is, you know, I get the feeling that the best thing that all you people in America can do is don't get ill by the sounds of it, because it does sound very dodgy at the moment. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below, and if you want to watch a video of an LBC caller being called Mr. Brexit, please watch this video here, and take care, my friends. And I've just done a bit of sexy mic dancing.